everybody, it's Dina again from the Rhode Island Wave newspaper and our Spotlight interview series here at the Cohasset Inn. I have a special guest today, Jon Dodd, who is the executive director of the Atlantic Shark Institute.
Correct.
Jon, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get such a gig at the Atlantic Shark Institute?
Oh, short story, long story. Short story is always loved the ocean. Had some experiences with sharks when I was very young, and decided that it was a place I wanted to spend a lot of time. So I went to the University of Rhode Island, got a degree in marine biology, was able to study at the National Marine Fisheries Service for a while, the Apex Predator Program. That's where they do all the shark research. It happens to be in Rhode Island, of all places, Narragansett, even though it's a national facility. And so I just got the bug and never left it. I did go off and have a business with my brother Stephen, which worked out well, but was doing research throughout that entire time. And then when things rolled up with that venture, I moved into shark research full time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us who live here in the Ocean State, and it'll always be the Ocean State to most of us.
Yes.
You know, we go by the ocean every day, and we're really not aware of what all is under there.
Yes, that
you are.
I am. Yeah, it's funny. That always fascinated me, you know, because you'd go to the beach and it doesn't look like there's anything going on. You know, you're just looking out across the water and you'll see birds, you know, on occasion you'll see fish working. But until I put on a snorkel when I was really young, and you go down under the water for the first time and you know, you see a crab scurry away and you've got these little fish in miniature flounder. And you know, I could literally sit in 6 inches of water with a mask and just move ever so slowly, and there was always something going on if you really looked at it. And that gave me a really cool perspective on, wow, you have to look close, but if you look close, there's a lot of things, and sometimes you don't need to look close at all because they become bigger as you get more confidence and go out further and engage the ocean in different ways.
Right, wonderful. I know they do have whale watching and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can go off the coast. Now, are you going to see sharks out there too when you go watching your whales?
It depends. It depends where you go, right? So if you're doing whale watching in our area, sometimes, because a lot of times the whales are really interested in bait. And so you end up with this food chain effect, right? So a lot of times you'll find the whales that'll feed aggressively on small or large schools of mackerel or menhaden or all sorts of things. And where there's food, there's typically fish, and then larger fish and ultimately sharks. So the issue with sharks is some of them really like to be on the surface, others not so much. So where the whales will come up and feed, because that's where the bait ends up getting pushed up to, the sharks will come up, but sometimes they're picking up scraps underneath, and they're waiting for the whale to spill out and pick up things that are an easier meal than chasing them around all day.
Very good. So really the best way and the safest way probably for us to see sharks is for you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
To do things like you're doing now.
Yeah, we'll go out, we'll get them, we'll video them, then we'll give you the video. But it's fun. You know, it's just one of those things where sometimes they show up in places you don't expect. You know, I mean, we'll be out and we'll be doing research on spinner sharks, and a white shark will show up. You know, you're doing work on blue sharks and a mako shark will show up. And we get videos all the time. People call all the time, say, I just got this video. And you're like, where were you? You know, and they say, here's where I, you know, and I'm like, well, that's interesting.
Right.
And something that just happened, just yesterday, we tagged another great white here in Rhode Island. And the waters are getting a little cold for the size of the white sharks we're running into. So even we get surprised.
Right.
Because, you know, suddenly you get a picture and you're like, wow, this is a very small, young white shark. Temperatures around 57 degrees. They tend to like it closer to 67, 68. It's about 10 degrees cooler than they'd prefer. So it's those kind of things that sometimes we even look and say, well, what's that guy doing here?
Right.
So it's always interesting because it's always changing. And if you like questions, then it's a good place to be. If you really want hard answers, sometimes they're hard to come by.
Yeah, more questions than answers at the end of the day.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll get an answer to something, and then it will immediately turn into, well, wait a minute. If that's true, then what about all of those?
Right.
So you very quickly have to become accustomed to just follow the data.
Right.
You can't say, oh, I want this data to lead to. Wouldn't it be fun if this data led to? You just, what do you see? How does it work? This is the third white shark we've caught in about 2.5 weeks. The other two were larger, which makes a little more sense. This one was only 5 feet long, which doesn't make as much sense. The bigger they are, you know, the more they can tolerate some of these cooler waters. So the one we got yesterday was an oddity. That happens, if
Right.
it happens a second time or a fourth or a fifth time, that's when you say, what's going on?
Right.
But every now and again,
Also, it did get kind of cold quick.
yeah, well, and the thing about the white sharks, and we have quite a few here in Rhode Island, we found them over the last few years, but is that they have a temperature tolerance that goes from 50 all the way up into the 80s.
Ah,
Whereas like a mako shark likes it really tight, 60, in that 63-degree water, 62, 64, very narrow, where white shark has a very broad range. So we see them sticking around a little longer and sometimes arriving a little sooner than other sharks simply because of that.
interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me, the Shark Institute, is it a place we can come visit?
It is not.
Okay.
So I operate the Atlantic Shark Institute. I have a big office in my home. I have acreage in South Kingstown. So if you went there, you'd see acoustic receiver buoys all over the yard. And we have chain piled everywhere. We have bruvs, the video stuff that we drop down to get videos of what's going on the ocean floor. But no, you know what? For us, nobody gets paid at the Atlantic Shark Institute. Myself and
So is it a website? Does it have
there's a beautiful
Oh,
website. Yeah, AtlanticSharkInstitute.org.
and I'll have that here.
Yep, there you go. And we also have almost 100,000 followers now on Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah, so we have a big presence.
Those are the videos I love the best, I have to admit, on
Yeah.
Facebook and all the platforms. People who do,
Yeah.
I've been watching these guys save seals.
Yeah.
I think they're in Australia, but
Yep.
they catch the pups and they take off whatever they're tangled in, and then they release them. And
Well,
I love it. I can watch it all
awesome,
day.
isn't it? It's funny when we post something. It's really interesting. I'm still not good at guessing what will be the most popular thing, because I'll say, "Oh, people are going to love this," and you get 400 likes, and then I'll say, "This, I'm not so sure," and we'll get 10,000. I mean, it's
Right.
crazy trying to figure out what people are really. We just did one. We released Mystic Aquarium released 2 seals last week.
Oh,
And we have a partnership with Mystic Aquarium, Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, the Atlantic Shark Institute. So for the first time, we're putting acoustic tags on seals.
oh,
And all that means is that once a minute, that tag is going to send out a signal. And if there's an acoustic receiver in the area, it'll say, hey, number 3487222 is here right now. And so we can track these seals all throughout the acoustic array. So it's really cool because we just got permission to do that. And it's going to be a valuable study to see where
Yeah.
these seals are going, because we think they're all, they get entangled at Block Island.
right.
They go to the aquarium, they get rehabilitated. You let them go and you say, oh, it's going to go back to Block Island. And then you watch for 3 months and it's into Narragansett Bay, up into Massachusetts, goes through the Cape Cod Canal, comes out in Cape Cod Bay, goes up to Provincetown. And you're like, holy smokes, 90 days. And you look at the travel and think, that's pretty wild.
I remember when I was a kid hearing about the lobsters that were going all the way down to Florida.
Yeah, like same thing. You look at the temperature, water temperature has such a, and bait has such a significant impact on so much that goes on in our oceans today. We're seeing sharks today, spinner sharks, blacktip sharks that 10 years ago you would not see here. The water temperatures are rising. They're finding it more comfortable
Uh-oh.
to be here. And they're just, of course, and that's why I say when we speak to young kids or audiences, which is, if you think we've got all the answers, we don't.
Right.
Because as soon as you think you know exactly what a spinner shark is going to do, or a blacktip, suddenly someone catches one and everybody says, what is that? You say,
Right.
it looks like a spinner shark, but what's it doing here in southern New England?
Right.
And away you go, which is, all right, well, what might it displace? Who's it going to compete with for food? And if they like it here, who might move further north? And we're just seeing a lot of that today in the shark world. A lot of shark species moving further and further north, or north of their traditional range.
Wonderful. So if we go to your website, we're going to find plenty of clips of things that have been done in the past. But now you have an exciting new project you're working on.
Yeah, so PDS series. So Tomas Keck is a dear friend. We got introduced to one another probably 3 or 4 years ago. And he's a really terrific young filmmaker. I got introduced to him. He had done a film called Sentinels of the Boreal. And then he said, hey, John, I'd love to do something with sharks. I was thinking of Keepers of the Blue. And he did that, and it was really wonderful. And he just did a longer feature length film called Flyway of Life. And it was really something. We went to the grand opening in Connecticut. There were 400, 500 people, sold out. And he just does very unique work. He's a young guy. He's just mid-20s, 25, 26. But he has a really interesting take on the topic, how he films it, the stories he tells, the things that he discloses. And so doing a 4-part series here in Rhode Island, and we were in the first one. So he's got this series going across, and it's, sharks and seals and birds and a whole bunch of things that are ocean related. And then it's all going to roll up to a feature-length film in 2027. So we're going to take these 4, he's going to take these 4, and then it's going to roll up to one big film. So we're excited to be a part of it. And of course, he was a Connecticut guy, so we have a bunch of contacts for him here in Rhode Island. So we've been very helpful to him in terms of getting out to meet the people he needs to get to go do the, dive the wrecks and to get the seal coverage and all the other things that he's getting for it. But it's really a love letter to Rhode Island, and so far he's doing a beautiful job.
Well, that's wonderful, because it's fun to. I mean, I do love the underwater things. I've watched some stuff on turtles. I don't know. A lot of people may have seen my octopus. I love the octopus.
Yeah.
Oh, I fell in love with octopuses on this one. But this is fun, because this is right here in our own state. When you drive over the bridge and you look at that big expanse of water, this will all be stuff that's right there.
It's right there. I think people are really going to be surprised. I really do, and really amazed, because so often people say, "Oh, I want to go see this. I'm going to go fly to, or I'm going to go to," and we have so many people that when you show video, they say, "Oh, where's that?" And I say, "Oh, that's Rhode Island." And they say, "Rhode Island? Wait, aren't those mahi mahi?" I'm like, "Oh, no, those are mahi mahi." Where'd you get those? "Oh, every single summer they're here in Black Island Sound." So as you go through the different type of rays that we get, so as you go through all of this stuff, people are always amazed, because it's just not a thing we focus on a lot.
No.
So when we go out on the water every single day, we engage the ocean in a certain way. And people like Tomas are critical, because when we go off for a day of research, if you can imagine, we're going to go off, we're going to try to catch a certain species of shark. Mm-hmm. The rod goes over, we're fighting a shark, it's coming to the boat. We have a lot of things we have to do.
Right.
Which is, what is the species, first of all? Okay, well, what do we want to do with these species? What tags do we want to deploy? Well, I don't know. What sex is it? Because if it's a male or a female, what size is it? What is it? A young of the year? Is it a juvenile? Is it a subadult? There are so many things that we need to do fast, and to make sure that the shark is cared for.
Right.
And that we get done to film it.
Right.
To document it, to fly a drone.
Definitely not a one arm.
Not happening. To fly a drone. It's like, we have so much to do, and we need to do it well, because it's all about the research.
Right.
That when you have somebody who is really good at it, and that's all they're doing.
Right.
And you're running around, and every now and again he'll say, "What are you doing?" And you'll describe it quickly or briefly. It's a little bit like a NASCAR pit stop. It's kind of all hands on deck. So to have somebody to document this stuff is really cool, because every time people see it, they go, "This is so cool." But if you've done it 100 or 500 times, you kind of forget that.
Right. Well, it was like when I watched the seal videos. I mean, you got these like 5-6 guys chasing after this 200 seals to catch the one that has the ring on its neck.
Yeah, correct.
And it's a lot. A lot happens quick.
Yeah, and they're doing that on Black Island. The seal population there is growing pretty rapidly, which is part of that project we have, shark seal interaction. In 2022, the big number was 150. Mm-hmm. The next season, it jumped to 300.
Wow.
Last season, it was 700.
Wow.
This season, it was 1,250.
Wow.
So it's on a rocket ride, and we're watching it really closely, because, of course, seals and white sharks have interaction.
Right.
And it's a food source for white sharks. But right now, we don't have any resident large white sharks in Rhode Island. Yeah, that's always good news.
That's not a bad problem.
No. We're not the Cape.
But we do have a problem with debris in the ocean. And that's what we're talking about. I'm talking about with the seals, is you throw your soda cans or your clothes, or, and they're swimming along, the turtles and the seals. And the next thing you know, they're caught up in netting, all sorts of crazy stuff.
What we see mostly with sharks is webbing. If there's a box, right?
Right.
And, you get that strapping on it, and you can't even break it. You have to cut it. We see that on sharks. Sharks are inquisitive.
Oh.
And what happens is they swim forward, and of course they always swim. So they swim forward, it goes over their neck, and it sits there. And we have seen
Then
some,
they grow.
yeah, we've seen some things that would break your heart and are really disgusting.
Right.
When you're like, this is awful, and you have to go so deep just to cut it. But
Right.
those darn things, they're so strong, and they'll go in the ocean for I don't know how many months or years.
Yeah.
Still won't break.
I know.
So we'll cut them and send them on their way. But that's the biggest issue with sharks. But of course with the seals, your entanglement's a huge. So they do that same thing on Block Island. They chase them down, they tackle them.
Yeah.
And what happens is they get a call and someone says, "Hey, there's an entangled seal," and Mystic puts together a team. They head out, and more often than not, these seals are malnourished because, of course,
Right. It's difficult. They have a
so
hard time moving around.
yeah. So it's not as easy as cutting it off and sending them on their way.
Right.
Suddenly, the weight.
So it would be good if we all got into the habit when you're walking along the beach, if you see something that might get some fish in trouble, just pick it up and dispose of it properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that complicated.
No, it's not. It's just that a lot of times when you're on the ocean, the things that you see, we collect so many balloons.
Oh, balloon.
It's crazy. They're everywhere. And turtles love them.
Oh,
Turtles will come up and they'll pop them. And
because they think they're food or something.
they do. They'll consume them. Yeah. So, but we collect, there have been trips, sometimes there's 4 balloons and sometimes they're in different places as you go along. Rough days, it's a little harder because everything's, but on clear days, calm days, you can spot them for, hey, what's that? And you go over and we'll use a gaff and pick it up and put it in the boat and deflate it and put it for garbage, but they're everywhere.
Well, that's wonderful that there are people like you out there on our oceans documenting this stuff and figuring out what's down there and showing us so we don't have to.
That's right. And the people from Rhode Island have been so good to us. I mean, none of us get paid. So I don't get paid. None of the volunteers. We have over 50 people involved. Our license plate is enormously popular. We have the most popular charity plate in Rhode Island history. We've sold over like 12,000 of them at this point.
Wonderful.
So there's shark plates everywhere. And all that money goes into the research. And every dollar comes out when we buy tags or we get bait or we just buy another acoustic receiver so we can monitor more of what's going on, or we do more deployments on our bruvs to see what's going on in the water. So it's a lot of fun and we enjoy it. And the people of Rhode Island have been really, truly great to us. And it's helped us a lot in terms of the research we do.
That's wonderful. So yeah, you can, if you don't have the shark plate, you can get the shark
please,
plate,
yeah.
and that is a little donation. Now, how else can we support you?
Yeah, well, if you visit the website, we have gear that folks could buy if they'd like. Our acoustic receivers, we have 20 of them, and we get $500 per season as sponsor, and we sell them out every year. That's always a nice gesture. For us, 100 cents on every dollar goes into the research. So if someone says, hey, if you got $50 or $100, we have some people that give us $5,000 every year. So we have some really major donors.
And I'm sure it's tax deductible.
It is tax deductible, yeah, 501c3.
As we get towards the end of the year and you want to save some tax dollars.
Yeah. And people will donate in other people's names. So they say this is for, and then they'll have a birthday and they say we donated on behalf of. It's cute. We have kids that'll donate their have a birthday fundraiser and things like that. We had someone who passed recently, and I wouldn't mention her name because I didn't ask permission to do so. But yeah, she asked that donations, in her name be made to the Atlantic Shark Institute.
Nice.
Which is really touching because you don't know these people,
right?
Yet they think of you in that way. And we got thousands of dollars in her name, and we named a buoy after her and things like that. So it gives us a greater sense of responsibility in terms of what we're doing. Because I didn't know this woman. She sounded wonderful. She thought of us, and people have given us money in her name. So you feel a significant responsibility to do with it what you should and treat it as respectfully as she probably treated us in saying, hey, support these guys.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I know I saw in your press release that the documentary should be dropping sometime in December. Do you know when, or should we just be looking for it?
I do not be looking for it. So there are things, so Tomas is on the water constantly.
Right.
We've got a big problem right now. This fall, the wind has not stopped blowing.
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy.
It's again today. And for us, 15 knots right on the edge, because, if you're out there all day tossing and turning, plus you can't see what's going on in the water as well. The water tells you a lot when you read it. It won't stop blowing. It's going to be 40 knots tonight. I mean, So the water has been so rough. So he's out there all the time. He's getting new shots. He's getting stripers feeding. He sent me some really cool stuff from last week, but he's picking and choosing, and he's got these partners that he's going out with. So yeah, so I don't want to pop his bubble and announce something that he says, hey, what were you thinking? You shouldn't have said that.
All right. No,
So I'm going to say December, his call. We'll see.
we won't rush the river.
There you go. There you go. It's a good quote. Yeah, understand.
And we'll keep an eye on your website.
Yeah, please.
And just look at all the older videos in the meantime, and then look for the new footage.
Yeah, look for the new footage. Go on to the Instagram, Facebook. They're the same post every week, but it's really neat because it kind of tells a story of what we do and how we do it. And it's not a place we've spent a ton of time, but every time we post, we get more and more followers. And like I said, we're over 90,000
Well, I'm gonna
now.
stop following you
Yeah,
because
please do.
I think the guys I'm following, I think they're in Australia. So
there you go.
you guys are a little close
far
to
away.
home. Yeah, it's too far away.
Too far. Everything we do is Rhode Island based. What's going on up and down the coast? We'll have the big announcement on the shark that we tagged a couple of days ago was a big number. I'm not going to tell you, but it was a big number in terms of milestone for us. So yeah, we always have fun with it. We do things like that, and people seem to be interested in it. So we're going to keep doing it.
Awesome. Very good. Well, it was very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice
Thank
meeting
you
you
so
as well.
much.
Thank you.